Good morning. Testing 1, 2. Mic's working. Music's working. All right. Let's do this. Working on my Seven Wonders game. And today I am shuffling stuff. I have my decks that I've got my decks ready. Deck for age 1, deck for age 2, decks for age 3, if you know anything about the game. But they aren't shuffled. I need to shuffle them. And yesterday I just quickly did a little search on the topic of shuffling arrays. Sorry. And I found a bunch of interesting stuff, including, let's see, that's not really, this here. This seems to be the most popular algorithm to shuffle a finite set, or, well, like an array. The Fisher-Yates shuffle, also known as the Knuth shuffle? Knuth? I don't know. However you spell that. Oh, maybe this will tell us. Knuth. As in about. Knu. And this is so yeah, Knuth. Okay. Cool. So also known as the Knuth shuffle. And a variant that I don't care about. Now, in researching this seems like a pretty easy algorithm to implement. The thing is, and this is probably total overkill, but this algorithm, if you want it to be totally unbiased, meaning that if you want all possible permutations of your array to be equally probable, you need to use an actual random number generator. And as we know, the number generators that come with most programming language, I think all programming language really, is pseudo-random. So it means that if we in JavaScript use math.random for I think there's about 50 cards in each deck, there's some permutations that will be less likely to occur than others. Actually, reading on the topic, and I'm still very fuzzy about all that stuff, it seems that because I think the math.random implementation in JavaScript only has a 32-bit internal state, whatever that means. Really, there's a bunch of permutations that would be impossible, is what I understand. That would just never occur. So if we really wanted to have like a perfect shuffle with like a perfectly distributed, how would you call that? Whatever. That each permutation would be as likely than any other permutations to happen, then we would need to find a way to have a better random generator. Like I could never have a perfect random generator. Perfect in the sense that it really is random. Like companies use like cosmic noises and like all kinds of different like natural stuff to translate into algorithm, but you need to be connected somehow to other devices to do that. So we're going to use a pseudo-random generator. And we're going to start with just math.random because that's probably good enough for our purposes. But I was kind of curious about trying to figure out a way to make a random number generator that would allow us to have, in our case, with about 50 cards, to have like a each permutation be possible and be as probable as any other permutations. Enough talk. Let's illustrate a little bit. Let's just do this here. All right, so C. Oh, I wonder. This doesn't work, right? Yeah, okay. That would have been nice. All right, take a look at this. So in a 52 deck of cards, the factorial, so the number of possible permutations, and that's basically what we're doing when we're shuffling, right? We're changing the order of the cards, so those are permutations, is 8 and some fractions, followed by 67 zeros. Let's put it this way. I tried populating an array with 8 followed by 67 zeros items, and I ran out of memory. That's what Google was saying anyways. So there's really no way to test this, because that was my idea. Like, oh, well, let's try to see how badly math.random does when trying to generate different permutations for a full deck of cards. And I don't know how I could even do that, because it seems like my computer cannot even store all of the possible permutations. Unless there's something I didn't do right or I didn't understand. But anyways, so it seems like something that's kind of hard to test. But anyways, that is why at this moment I think I'm just going to use good old math.random. Alright, so let's see. I didn't actually read the whole thing, but Fisher and Yates' original method, which dates from 1938. I think there's a modern algorithm. There you go. From Durstenfield in 64. So to shuffle an array A of n elements, an equivalent version which shuffles the array in the opposite direction from lowest index to highest. I don't know why I would do that, but... So what are we doing? This is 0 to n minus 1, yeah. So for I from n minus 1 down to 1, do. Yeah, so we're starting at the end. J is a random integer such that 0 is smaller or equal to j, and j is smaller or equal to I. Okay, so basically we're generating a random number between 0 and we're starting from, okay, basically the number of elements in the array. And then we're exchanging a j, so the random index, with a I, the index at the end. Ah, cool. So we're doing that in place. All right. We're not creating a new array, which, would be really useful if the array was like huge. And what we're basically doing by decrementing I is we're like making our search space, well, search space, whatever. We're the space that we consider in the array smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. That's interesting. Yeah, that's quite easy to implement. I think I found a few examples of that. Let's see. I is array dot length minus 1, yeah. I is bigger than 0, I minus minus. That seems to be what we are, yep. Okay. And then the index generated I plus 1. That doesn't seem right. I plus 1. No. Oh. Okay, probably like next int. Does he have a next int function? Alright, anyways. But yeah, essentially. Okay, what about this guy here? Dict.length minus 1, I minus. Gonna swap index math4, math random times I plus 1, const card, dict I, swap index. Yep. Alright. I gets it, so let's do it. Let's just put that here. Boop. Here. All I really need is this. Now I'm going to put that in my helpers function. I think I'm not using crypto. Lower that a little bit. Okay. So we're going to call this array shuffle or shuffle array. Shuffle array. Yeah. Let's do that. And then we're going to take our array. It's going to be an array of anything. We don't really care. We could make it generic. All right. I don't know if that would be useful in our case, but and we could also make it return a new array instead of doing it in place. Let's see. To shuffle an array A of n elements for I from n minus 1 down to 1. We're switching places here. So it would just be a matter of, yeah, How about we make it, oh, I could even make it iterable. And then instead of an array, it could be an iterable or iterator. Which one is it? I can't remember. Iterable would be, yeah, iterable. And we're going to return we could return an array. We could return an iterable ourselves. Let's just return an array. Shuffle iterable. I like it. Although yeah, we convert the iterable to an array and then we do our thing. That's what we could do. So we simply do const r equals, and then we do that, iterable, okay, and then we do for let I equals I from n1 down to, so equals r dot length -1, and this needs to be actually, if I want to make this faster, I think I don't need to. That's I, or let I. No. -1. That. And then until we hit down to 1. So as long as I is bigger than 0, let's do it. And then minus minus. Okay. And what are we doing? So j. So let j, or actually this can be a const j equals math. Oh, actually I have a get random int inclusive. Get random int inclusive such that j is at a minimum 0 and maximum I. We're good. And now we exchange a j and a I. So we need a temporary variable here in order to do that. We can do a j is equal to a or r j is equal to I need a temporary variable. I think I remember seeing this. How to exchange values of two variables. Swapping of two numbers without third variable. Well, they're not numbers, so. Temp A. Okay, but that only works with numbers, right? I think we might not be able to get away without a temporary variable. B equals A. Oh, damn. I didn't think about this. Oh. Oh, 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 oh. Look at that beauty. Never occurred to me to do this. Although in this case, since we're using arrays, array indexes, it wouldn't work. But still, that's pretty cool. I'm gonna keep that in mind for some of the time. Okay. But yeah, that's brilliant. Oh wait, I might be able to do that. Let's see. No, that wouldn't work. Wait. I am using... Alright, that... no, that doesn't work. Oh, that would have been cool. Maybe if I, Okay, let's see if I search how to swap to array elements in JavaScript. Uh-huh. For all types. And there we go. Yay. Very cool, but I'm looking specifically for arrays. Type C, My data 2 is equal to my data, yeah, okay. Okay, so this guy doesn't really offer anything special, but functional. Now what? No, 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 no. This was fun. Let's just use, so const temp equals our, what are we doing here? We are, we're exchanging I, okay. And then, so we're doing our j is equal to temp. No. Ri is equal to rj first, right? And then rj is equal to temp. Yep. Seems about right. Let's try it. Oh, we need to return array. So now if we do, let's run Quokka on this thing. Func is not defined. What are you talking about? Why? It's trying to run the entire thing. That is interesting. Stop all, maybe? Let's try that again. Start on current file. Okay. So if we do shuffle, iterable, and we pass in that is odd, but whatever. 2, 3. Oh, okay, it works. And 3, 1, 2. Yay. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Oh. Right on. I wonder, let's see, it would be interesting to test how well distributed this solution is with math.random. So let's say 10 factorial is like a lot. 3 million. Keep that for some other time. What is that? 10 is a movie from 1979. A successful middle-aged Hollywood songwriter falls hopelessly in love with the woman of his dreams. plays in that movie? Bo Derek. Noise. Interesting. Okay. So we've got a functioning, shuffling function. I could pass in, since I'm doing iterable, I could pass in something else, like let's say a set. New set. Let's use this here. Like that. Then let's just take a look at our set here. Yeah, that's right. And set is usually iterated in order of how you added stuff to it, I think. But anyways, so let's try this. Yay! Workage. How about a map? Map would have to be like a key value pair thing. How would that work? Let's see. Map, you have to give it an array of arrays, right? So like, we could just call this, we could just call this like key, for instance, and then the value would be 1. Oh no, just, okay, like this. Oh, they'd have to be different keys though. So let's just make it 1, 1. And then another one, which would be 2, 2. Which makes no sense, but whatever. And then this would be 3, 3. And as we can see, it has shuffled it. Cool. All right. And we're returning a new array, so we're not changing anything in place. Very nice, Stopal. I could even document this, maybe? Function to shuffle. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. I don't think I need to document it. It shuffles iterables. It's in the name, you know, and in the signature. If I look at it this way, shuffle returns an array of t. Yep. I need to export this. There we go. I could probably make it a little bit more compact like this. Still easy to read. Good stuff. Okay. So we got that done. Now, let's shuffle our decks. Oh yeah, before we do that though, we've got like some major duplication here. Look at this code. This is the same as this, and we're essentially doing the same thing in here too. It's just that I've got another. So let's make age 1 deck. So what are we doing here? We are doing a bunch of different things. Probably split that up. We're reading the file and we're making a row objects from the file. And we're creating an empty deck. Then for each row object, we're card count, we're mapping row number of players, and we're pushing the right amount of decks, okay, of cards in it. Cool. So we could probably call this make age deck. So something, well, actually exactly like this. It's just it would have to be générique more. So make age deck. Age deck. Need to pass in the number of players. This shouldn't be hard coded. So we would need to we would need the file name, the file URL, the file, what do you call that? The file path. Okay. We need file path. What else do we need? That's the only thing, really. That is the only thing. So we could have a simple array. Actually. And we could wrap this whole thing. Ooh, I have an idea. Okay, how about we do this? Let's say we're gonna call this file path. It'll be an array. Like that. And then H1 cards, H2, and then H3 is like that too. Hey, what's up, colorful catter? How you doing? Then I could do const, check it out, deck1, age1 deck. Let's call this age1 deck. H2 deck, H3 deck is equal to, this is where file path dot map, haha, and then we take in our, doing good, man, just grinding some games now, working on a login page with sessions, etc. Kind of new for me, but PHP sessions is not that hard to understand. Working with PHP, eh? Never had the privilege myself. I heard a lot of bad things about it. Is it all true? I know I hate WordPress. Well, hate is a strong word. I've had bad experiences with WordPress. Depends what you heard about it. Yeah, no doubt. Just generally. Nothing very specific, actually. Now that you bring it up, I can't really pinpoint it. I just, for some reason, in my, I've accumulated bad feedback about PHP over the years from different people, but I can't really put a finger on it. Like I couldn't say really why people seem to not like it. Okay, file path dot map. And now I'm basically passing in my make age deck function, which is an async function. Yeah, that's a problem. I mean, if you like to use JavaScript and you like easy to use functions, etc., I think it's great. I mean, I have no problem with it. Okay, cool. So one day I might have to play around with it. Is PHP strongly typed? Statically typed? Then again, I didn't really use any other language yet. I mean, a bit of Python. Okay. So is it like Python? Is it dynamically typed like Python and JavaScript? Or is it statically typed? Oh, sorry. Yeah, so see how right now I'm coding in TypeScript, which I don't know if you know about it, is a superset of JavaScript. It's basically JavaScript with types. Types are how would I define types? Okay, so you know how a number, there you go, hold on. So if you've worked a little bit with JavaScript, so if I type 13, that is a number. It's of type number. If I type 13, that is a string. It's of type string. So each language, programming language, has a type system. That's right. And then there's objects, which is another kind of type in JavaScript. But anyway, so each language has their own types and type system in the sense that it might or it might not force you to specifically tell it what type the thing is. Okay, so in JavaScript you can just do let's see, const foo equals 13. Boom. And JavaScript is cool with that. No problem with that. But if you're doing C# or Java or you know, a bunch of other languages that are statically typed, then you couldn't technically you wouldn't be doing that. You would be, although you would you could do, if I think if you're using var, then you're kind of, I think var in C# is like implicitly typed. I don't know, whatever. Anyways, but what I'm getting at is that, for instance, in TypeScript, you could do foo and then lis and then say, okay, foo is going to be a number. It's always going to be a number. So let's take a better example. Right, that's an example of type JavaScript. What do they call it? Type coercion, I think, where or conversion or whatever, where JavaScript will change the type of the value to make that kind of thing work. So okay, here's a good example. Let's just use this. So in JavaScript, you could do let bar equals 13, and then go bar equals yo mama, right? Boom. So the bar variable, you initialized it with a number type, but then somewhere in your program you're changing it to a string. And it's warning me here because I'm using TypeScript. It's saying, dude, you can't assign a string to a number. And that's what a statically typed language will do. It'll prevent you from assigning the wrong type to variables that you specifically said they were supposed to be a certain type. So in TypeScript, you'd do something like this, and then if you try to do what I just did, you know, yo, it would warn you. But if you did, you know, like 20, then everything's fine. Okay, so it's dynamically typed. Interesting. And that might be where some of the hate comes from. A lot of programmers love to hate dynamically typed languages. They just love it. They love to hate on JavaScript and on Python because of that. Okie dokie. So you're doing you were saying, working on a login page with sessions. Kind of like new, okay. Yeah, I love Java. Well, actually, I find with TypeScript you get the best of both worlds. TypeScript is awesome. You get types, but you're using JavaScript. So JavaScript is cool because it basically runs on everything and everywhere. Like, you can do everything with JavaScript. IoT, web, native, whatever you want. With projects like Electron, you can do like desktop apps. Heck, this is a JavaScript desktop app, VS Code. It's an Electron app. They write it in TypeScript. Slack desktop app is an Electron app. It's written in TypeScript, or at least as far as I know, JavaScript or TypeScript, one or the other. The only thing so far that I wish was better with JavaScript was parallel programming, concurrency, I guess. I always get the two mixed up and they kind of overlap, but threads, basically threads. I created a database with users and stuff, and I'm trying to fix it. The register function now, fix the register function. Okay, the login already works. Cool, good stuff. I'm working on a. I don't know if have you ever played. Have you ever played? Hold on. Boom. This game. Oh, Seven Wonders. It's a board game. It's really cool. So I'm kind of making a Eight Wonders. Maybe that's what I'll end up calling mine, just so I don't get in trouble. Okay. No, I'm just doing this for fun. I'm not planning to release this or anything. File path. What was I doing? Oh yeah. Okay. I need to shuffle, make my decks and shuffle them and all that stuff. So, make H deck. Let's see if I'm taking my file path. So this would be the file path. Cool. And then I do this, and I can basically just do all of that in here, like that, except that I have a problem with my await thing. Is that gonna work? Like, can I use, this would be an async. Then what would these be? They would be promises. Cool, 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 cool. I like it. Okay, so actually, let's make this, make age deck, takes the number of players, returns a promise with deck, and this will return or no, it won't return. It's actually, let's think about this here for a sec. Yeah, I need it to return a function that takes in a file path. That's how we're going to get to map this thing. File path of type string. Okay. And then I can just take all of this in here. X. Do this. Then that is an async function. Right. This is the file path. Like that. And what are you complaining about here? Oh yeah. Take it easy, dude. So we're actually returning a let's see here. If I just do this, file path, promise, construction array is missing the following properties from type promise construction array, then catch blah blah blah. The thing is, what I'm returning here is actually, how about we do that and just not type this thing. Let's say promise construction array. Yeah. Well, I could always explicitly type it, and instead of saying this, it's going to be a deck. Okay. So I think that would work. if I were to do make age deck, boom. Then I need to pass in the number of players, which I would get from somewhere. How long have you been coding for, and is it your work or just a hobby? I've been coding for about 3 years, and it's just a hobby for now. I am planning to make it my work in the next few months, hopefully, if all goes well. I'm a real estate agent. I've got a real estate agent business. It's going really well. And it's growing, and I'm making a pretty penny, but I just love coding so much that I'm actually thinking about giving it up and trying to get a job programming, because I can't stand to just do this part-time, the coding part. I would love to do this all day, every day, and get paid for it. Might as well, right? So that means I'm probably going to get a significant pay cut if and when I make the switch, but I don't care all that much. Yeah, it's a little nerve-wracking. I mean, I would be giving up a good thing. My real estate business is going well. I've got good systems in place where I can actually make quite a bit of money and not work like a crazy person, allowing me some time to code for fun. Now I'd be giving all of that up for the opportunity to code all day for less money. And not necessarily for fun, right? I'm going to be coding for others, so I don't have the choice of what I'm going to be coding on. So it's kind of I'm hesitant a little bit, but I'm pretty sure that's what I'm going to do in the end. The call is too strong. All right, so let's say pass in 7. Boom. So that would work normally. Now I have to think of, okay, so I can get rid of this probably here. And this. Go to still make a pretty penny as well, but your current works earns a lot more probably, haha. Well, yeah, like when you look at salaries for programmers and stuff, depending on the tech stack and the experience level, you've got, programmers that make like upwards of 100K US, and it depends where you're at too, like geographically, in the world, in the country, whatever. But that's for like, from what I've seen, that's for like senior devs, or at least not junior devs. From what I'm seeing, when you're just starting off, and I would be, right? Even though, like, well, I don't know. I have no idea how a potential employer would consider my level. But, I've been coding for 3 years part-time. I don't have any formal education in programming. I don't have any work experience programming. So I have a feeling I would be considered like just a junior dev, like pretty much just any other candidate that's just starting off in the industry. And from what I'm seeing salary-wise, it seems to plays from 45K to 60K. And that's for a full-time job. I'm making quite a bit more than that, is realistically working less than 40 hours a week. So I mean, I don't know. Like, it'd be great if I could start off at like 80K or more, but I don't know. Guess we'll just have to see when I get serious about this. Right, which is cool. I wouldn't have a problem with that eventually, being in charge of the project and taking a bit of a leadership role. But I mean, I'm making that switch because I want to code, right? I want to program, I want to build stuff. So I don't know if I'd ever want to be just pure management. Um, I don't know. We'll see. I have to start somewhere and see how it goes, I guess. What I really want eventually is to be able to work remote. That's going to be another hard thing for me right now. You know, I'm a business owner. I work from home a lot of the time. I'm in charge of my schedule. Being tied to a desk, I don't do well being tied to a desk. I don't do all that well. Like, you know, jobs where like you got to be in at 9 o'clock and you got to take your lunch break at noon and come back at 1 and you're gone at 5 unless we'd like you to stay and work for free for an hour or two because we've got a project that's, you know what I mean? Why not go freelance? Yeah, I that's an option, but I mean, going freelance with zero experience in an industry, that's kind of a that's hard, man. Like it's I'm thinking maybe I'm gonna get a job, get some experience on the side, and then not on the side, but I mean get some experience and then maybe try to like get freelance projects on the side a little bit, make a reputation for myself, and then we'll see. Maybe I'll have more options, right? And I think more and more jobs are offering remote work, so maybe I could find an actual employment opportunity that offers remote. Maybe not at first, like as a junior dev, if that's what I go in as, but maybe after a little while I can try to negotiate for it, or I'll be able to change and get a new job. Degree doesn't matter as much in coding than it other kinds of work. Not saying degree says nothing, but still. Yeah, that's what I've noticed. It seems to me like it's more important to be able to show that you can do stuff, you know. Um, but still, I mean, I can imagine that. Like I have no idea if I'm going to apply to some places. Am I going to be one of the only candidates? Is there going to be like 100,000 candidates, and then it's like, yeah, you're doing good, and we can see you know how to do stuff, but this guy knows how to do stuff too, and he's got a bachelor in computer science, so we're going to hire him, or we're going to hire you, but give you $20,000 less per year. I don't know. So that highly depends on the job market. So right now, I think there's a shortage of supply in terms of of employees in the software development industry is what I'm thinking. So it allows for people with less education, less skills, less experience to get jobs and to get jobs that pay a a decent wage. But if that ever changes, that's why I'm thinking this is the time to get in. I'm pushing 40. I'm almost 40 years old, and I know that the industry, there's a bit of ageism too in the industry, from what I hear. So it's not going to get easier for me if I wait and let the years go by to get in. And it's a good market, I think, too, right now for if you're looking for a job. So I'm thinking now's the time if I want to, you know, I'm going for higher degree later, so I'll be in charge of projects and stuff. That's cool. That is cool. All right, let's keep going with this here. So I'm making these decks. Make age deck, take in the number of player. Return this thing here. I could probably extract this so that it's a bit more readable. So we'll call this function. It's an async function. And it'll be called it'll be called well, it's taking a file path and it returns a deck, so file path to deck mapper. But then I would need to pass in okay, let's see. If I just tried to extract it using, would it let me? Or just do this like that. Did that. Extract to function in module scope. What would that look like? File path to deck. So yeah, map file path to deck. Pass in the number of players. Wow, we're essentially just, this is the same thing. Nope. Let's leave it in here then. Oh, this is kind of complicated. Not easy to read. Then I would need, I don't know, this seems like it's too clever. Trying to get all functional and stuff. pass in a number of players, return a function. So, all right, let's take a step back from this. Let's bring these back in. Let's forget about this. I don't like it. I want to be able to understand my code easily. Forget about this. So instead, make age deck is going to take in a number of players, and it's going to take a file path. Which is a string. This will be the file path. Boom. And I've basically just eliminated the need for these two things. Like that. Right, now I can simply make let me see, game setup test, assigning a wonder to each player. Don't really care about this for now. Construction decks. Where would I want the actual work to happen? I don't care about that right now. Let's just make it work and then we'll figure it out. We'll figure out where to put it later. So make age deck is my general thing. Number of players and then file path. That's cool. And then so I could have a general, let's see. I could have a general function called just make decks. Make decks. Make age decks. I don't know. Okay, let's just call it that for now. So function make age decks takes in the number of players and returns an array of decks. Let's make it close this. An array of decks. That's what we want. That is what we want. Am I missing something? Can be applied to type. What operator? What are you talking about? Deck. Nope. What? Let's make that. Oh. There we go. Okay. So now let's. So where are you from, colorful catter? Netherlands. Cool. Oh yeah, this time of the day I get a lot of my viewers are from Germany, the Netherlands, that part of the world. Okay, make each deck, then I'm going to be calling, let's say I'm doing age 1 deck is equal to make age deck, and pass in a number of players, pass in, do I hard code this? What do I do? Probably should have these as const, actually. So const age 1, age 1 deck file path. Yeah, let's do it that way. Or I could even do that would be more const file path equals this of age 1. Or should this all be, I don't know, age 1. I'm not quite sure this is the standard style, but I'm gonna do it that way. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, let's forget about this here. Then I can just do file path dot age 1. Boom. Okay. So that takes care of this one. So I'll actually return a promise, right? Okay. And then const h2 deck is equal to make age deck. Number of players and file path dot h2. Then const h3 deck equals make age deck, number of of players, file path dot h3. Okay. Now here's the thing. H3 deck is a promise construction. Now the difference here is that I need to make a guild deck. Cont to guild deck. Let's do that. Make H deck. Would that work? What's the process here? It's a bit different. It's a bit different here. So let's extract this. Make guild deck. Function. Make guild deck. Let's see. All I really need, okay, so I need this. So Control X. Let's have this in here. Then I need this. Control X. This here. And then instead of pushing to this deck here, we'll have our guild deck. So let's do this here. So do you actually colorful cat, or do you work in the industry? Do you or do you do it as a hobby? So, guild object, select guild card name, guild deck dot push. Objects. Yep. So I'm trying to extract this to function in module scope. What would this look like? Make guild deck. I'm in school following a coding class. I work as a pizza delivery boy, but also work at a tech store. I know my way around hardware, software. Cool. Right on. Oh man. Now I feel like eating a pizza. See what you did. Seems like I haven't had a good pizza in ages. Deck. Oops. I guess we've got deck here somewhere. Oh yeah. So this would be turn guild deck. We wouldn't need this anymore. So we can we can get rid of all that. Okay. So then we make guild deck, number of players, and call this guild, and this is right here. Oops. That, and then file path dot guild. Guild deck, file path dot guild. To add this here. File path, type string, shove my file path in here. Okay. Uh-huh. Much better, I would think. Now, a few things that need to happen here. I need to incorporate. I need to, so let's do this. That H3 deck equals make H deck actually make H deck, boom boom boom. Oh right, so await, does that work? Within an async function, true, 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 true. All right, let's supply with that, so that works. And then do the exact same thing here. Boom, boom, boom. Await make guild deck. And that consists in our H3 deck. Yeah, I like it. That's good. I think that's understandable. So now we, and I can actually make this a const. So all I really need now is to although if I await every time, I should probably use a promise dot all. Or, oh, this is actually a, I need to return a promise. That is going to be an array deck. So actually, let's think about this here. If I do promise.all, promise.all takes in Okay, let's just comment that out for now. Promise.all takes in, creates a promise that is resolved with an array of results when all of the provided promises resolve. An array of results. When all of the promises resolve. So if I was to do make HDEC, let's use this one here. And then this. Oh, that's interesting. Expected one argument but got two. Oh, okay. You need to pass in an array. Getcha. So, just pass this in. But then that would be silly to have an await here. And I need to get rid of this. Okay. I could probably get rid of these. And then I'd get a promise. Returns a construction. Now if I was to do a wait here, I would get, yeah, construction. And if I wanted this to be, I think flat map would work here. So if I did this, dot flat map, or just flat, yeah, just flat. Returns a new array with all subarrays elements concatenated, yeah. Just flat, I don't need to map it. Like that, then I'd have a, that's right. Okay. That's interesting. So this should be a little faster because it'll be able to run in parallel. Then we end up with this. H3, H2 deck, H1 deck. They're not dependent on each other, so I could probably shove all of that in a promise.all. So really, I would need to do that. Let's see. Oh, but I do because I want to flatten it. So let's get that back in here. And then we could probably do something like return promise dot all. Actually, I gotta shuffle it first, so const age1. How are we gonna do this? You know what? This shouldn't be. Well, if I do. If I do, let's see, what's next? What do I need to do? So here I have my actual array. These ones here aren't done. I could await each one. I mean, this will be a fast running thing anyways. Although, if I was to do, now we need to shuffle them. So if I tried to do something like return, shuffle iterable, boom, age1 deck. And it's like, no, you can't do that because it's a promise. And then if I do, yeah, well, how about that? Boom. Okay. And then if I do shuffle iterable, await, H2 deck, and then shuffle iterable, H3 deck. Could always do the flat here. It would make more sense in a way. All right, man. See you around. Drop by whenever you want. It's been fun chatting with you. Okay. And I do await h3.deck. Dot flat. There we go. I like it. I like it. Now, let's test this. See what we get. What's the best way to try this? I'm just gonna do it in here. So let's do make H decks. Boom, for 3 players. And we'll actually build this. Okay, and then we'll run Quokka on the JavaScript here. Okay, so I can already see that we've got a problem. Intermediate value dot flat is not a function. Now that might be because, let's see, where is that? Where is that? This one here. Promise any construction implementation. That's interesting. What if I look at this here? I'm expected to have construction, okay. Flat. What do I have here? Yes, next, this should be working. Unless there is no... Let's take a look at this here again. Unless... Let's run this, start on the current file. So type error. Flat is not a function. So, gotta plug this in. This basically means that either that's not an array, or that we don't have the flat. So let's do this then. We got an array with 1, 2, 3, and then we have another array with 4, 5, and 6, and then we do flat, boom, aha! So it just doesn't like the flat. Quokka doesn't like the flat. Well, this bites because I'm sure that node has it now, I think. All right, let's try this. Stop all. Let's just try to run this, see what happens. So make hdex3, and let's try to log this. Oh, this is going to be ugly. Let's try to log this, see what happens. Not ideal. Otherwise, I can hook up the debugger and see. I haven't done that yet. Okay, so we're going to do node. And this is in the dist folder. And that's the construction, what's it called? Construction dex.js. Alright, what do we got? Promise pending. Alright. Silly moi. This is returning a promise, so we need to do this a little differently. Oh, I wonder if that was the problem. No, I don't think so. But anyways, let's try it. So if I do make hdex, right? I go 3, like that. And I do dot then, and this will be the value, and I just want to, actually I can probably just do console.log. Aha, interesting. Okay, let's do this differently. Oh yeah, of course, because, okay, I know what's going on. That's why it wasn't working, because no? Really? Okay, confused. Value. Okay, and then just console.log value. And nothing. Yeah, because it's going to the catch. Error. Console.log the error. What the heck is all this? Oh, I'm getting things. But in the end, yeah. Flat is not a function. So that's really the problem here. Okay, so stop that. And then just try to run it again. Huh. Flat is not a function. So is it node doesn't have flat yet? Wait a minute. Console.log. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that would suck. My nice and elegant code is going to be not so nice and elegant anymore if I can't use flat. Ah. Okay, and then flat. Actually, hold on. Needs to be like that, and then flat. Do your thing. Yeah, class not a function. You suck, node. You suck. Let's see. Docs. Wait, hold on a second. Is it V8? The latest version of V8 doesn't even have it? Could that be? Let's try this. So if we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, boom, boom. Yeah, okay, and then flat. Oh, so yeah, works in the browser. Means the latest version of V8 has it. Look at that, beautiful. Where would I find out about this? I'd go to the docs. And then I'd look at this, maybe. No, not really. Because that's just like the... I don't actually... Do I have... Okay, V8. Does it tell us which version of V8? Module exposes API that are specific to the version of V8 built into the Node.js binary. Mm-hmm. All right, let's try this. Can I use? I think if I do flat. All right. Oh, it doesn't have node? But why? 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 Edge, Firefox, Chrome, blah, 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 blah. Ah. Can I use node? Node green. Yeah, that sounds. What up? Looking for Amy. What's up? I am trying to figure out how to use flat, array.flat in node. Doing good? Doing good. Let's see. Can I search this thing or I gotta go down the list? Looks like I have to go down the list. Developer, oh, you're right. At the bottom, right? At the bottom of the MDN, there's a. Let's see. I think so. Yeah. It doesn't have node. Oh yeah, it does. Cool. But this is flat map, right? I just want flat, but they're probably. I think they were implemented at the same time. It has up flat and flat map, yeah. So flat, boom. And node in version 11, which explains why it doesn't work on my machine. So node green, there's no way to search this thing, eh? You just gotta do this, I guess. Yeah. Boom. Started in version 11.15 or something. I am. Hold on. Hold on. I thought I was. Yeah. See? LTS is 10.16. I am on the recommended for most users version. So now we need to upgrade to the latest features version if I wanted to have it. And honestly, I want to have it. It's like such a great addition to JavaScript, flat and flat map, if you ask me. It's been a long time coming. So what do I do? Do I download the latest version of Node? Which version do I have? I wonder. Probably have close to that 10.15, right? So, okay, let's take a look at this here. I think it's safe to upgrade to 12. Current. Maintenance. What? They're gonna stop? Oh yeah, it's true, because the, how does it work with Node? The odd versions are kind of like internal, well, not internal, but they basically just don't commit to maintaining maintenance for that those versions I mean. All right, so if I change to 12, yeah. So you can only see even numbers will become LTS. That's right. And the last current of 11 point something. Yeah, you're right. All right, so let's upgrade to, because I really want to use a flat, and that's going to be annoying going forward, trying to use it everywhere. And is there an easy way to do this from the command line, or do I have to download from here and just? It's probably better to do it that way. Anyways, right? Let's just make sure that, unless you've used Chocolately, do it via download. Yeah, no, I didn't use Chocolately. Should I shut down VS Code for this? Probably better, right? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So let's do that. NPM might not upgrade correctly if you don't close VS Code. Yes. Yes. What else on my system could be using Node or NPM behind the scenes? I don't think I've got anything else running that could. Yeah, bloody. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, all right. Let's do this. Yep. Automatically install the necessary tools. Note that this will also install Chocolately. Uh-oh. If you ever need to downgrade, NVM Windows still works decently. Oh yeah, I remember about NVM. So some NPM modules need to be compiled from C++. If you want to be able to install such modules, some tools, Python 2, need to be installed. All right, I guess go for it. Don't want to be bothered with. Yes, otherwise you need to do that manually. Yeah, and I really don't want to do that. So in the meantime, today I was working on. Whoa! Phew. Still here? Good. I was working on shuffling my decks, generating the decks from files, and that I did yesterday mostly, and from my CSV files, and then shuffling them. So I used the Fisher, what's it called? Fisher-Yates shuffle, or Knuth shuffle. But I was reading about it, and turns out that using math.random, blah, 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 with like a, big deck of cards, like 50 cards, you actually don't, technically, there's some permutations that you would never get, apparently, because of the limit of math.random, which I think has a 32-bit state, I think. Like, that's a bit over my head, but I mean, for the purposes of the game I'm building, it's probably fine, right? But I was kind of interested about that and wondering how complicated it would be to build a number generator that would be uh, how do you call that? You know, basically that would make sure that all, because when I looked at it, right? So if you have an actual like deck of cards, we're looking at like 8 permutations, right? So 8 followed by 67 zeros. Um, so yeah, how would I go about building my own math.random that would make sure that if I was able to make a graph, you know, of all these permutations and then generate randomly, that boop, they would all have the same probability of showing up very easily, right? Why do people keep telling me stuff is easy when I feel like it would take me months to figure out? Yeah, see, that's what I was looking at. Boom, was right there with you. Except, you know, I don't understand. I don't understand how it works. So you don't write this yourself, not because I think you're incapable, but you can't do this in programming yourself. Right. This hooks into the hardware system components that give you true randomness. True-ish randomness, right? Because I think it's still... Oh, really? It actually uses mouse movements and other entropy sources like that. Oh, I didn't know. So it is true randomness when you use random bytes. Cool. I thought it was still kind of... Oh, well, wait. It does say it right here. Strong pseudo-random. Pseudo-random. The script will install Python, blah, blah, blah. Sure, yeah, do your thing. I say it, do your thing. Windows PowerShell. Don't remember having to do this last time I installed Node. Python 2 is not installed. I think that's a lie. Pretty sure I had it installed. Yeah, okay, cool. You random on Reddit? Right. Okay, cool. Instead of true randomness, I meant whatever the system can give you. Yeah. Which I think, you know, is good enough to do what we want. This one here? No, that's not. Oh. The built-in dev, urandom, and dev random device files. That's cool. Oh, okay, so this in Unix-like operating systems, which I don't have. Special files that serve as pseudo-random number generators. Explains where it comes from. All right, interesting read for later. Cool. Gonna keep that open. Okay, so that's done, or almost. Windows implementation is very similar as it says under other OS system. Cool. All right, so the thing is, like if I do crypto random bytes, what's the size I should be passing in? right? If I know that I have like 8 followed by 63 zeros, permutations, what's the size I need to be passing in? And also, okay, this is returning a buffer. You need n values where n equals the array length, the deck length. So 52 bits. Is that what you're... Actually, I was looking at here. Maybe you'll understand this better than I do, but there's this here section that explains why it's a problem with pseudo-random number generators and blah blah blah. And with 52 playing card decks, it only ever produces a very small fraction of the 52 factorial possibilities. So 2 to the 225 possible. Okay, that's actually, okay, so it's impossible for a generator with less than 226 bits of internal state to produce all the possible permutations of a 52 card deck. So, oh, okay, I see. So there's two things basically that you need to take into account. The size of the seed and the internal state of the number generator. Huh. Oh, more stuff. You need, and check out. Let's check it out. Hold on. I have to drag it like this because if I just click on it from OBS, it opens it in another weird window instead of Chrome. All right. So these are other people's implementations. This one's a little bit more complicated, so let's look at this one. Shuffle. The number of items left to shuffle. Some rent. Oh, this is for the browser though. How's that coming along? Still working, eh? Oh. No, it indicates a reboot is necessary. But I don't want to. Is it just going to reboot, or if I press enter? Just press enter. You don't need to. What? But the computer says I do. Who am I to trust? The computer or looking for Amy? Tune in next week. Okay. Get random values. There's like modulo stuff happening here. Interesting. For a Fluent API. Fluent API, that's like a chaining API, right? Is that the same thing? Where it returns, yeah, it returns this basically, and okay. All right, I'm just gonna put that aside for now because I really want to try. I gotta open my VS Code again. All right. June 2019 version. Cool. I'll look at that some of the time. Node V. Oh yeah, good idea. Just to make sure we've got the right version. Yay! Look at that. Awesome. And now, technically, what was I trying to run here? I think I was trying to run this thing. Yeah, let's test out our flat. Make sure it works. So node, it's in dist, and construction, oops, dex.js. Yay! Works. Okay, so then I could, because I was trying to use Quokka here, and I was getting an error, so I'm like, oh, there must be a problem with Quokka, so I tried it with straight Node, and I was getting the same thing, so that's when I clued in that, oh, the version of Node I have probably doesn't have flat. Okay. Oh, that's a lot. Let's try this here. Oh no, that's not gonna work. Yeah, we're getting something. I just wanted to see. How am I gonna do this? Let's just do. Okay, so we don't need this anymore because we don't have a problem. Let's try to put this on more lines so I can just do value like that. Okay. And this should allow us to look, yay, okay, so I'm getting my 3 ages deck as an array. Now, have you played this game? I think you have, right? Oh no, you didn't. No, you told me you didn't. So 21 cards in my first age deck, 21 cards in my second age deck, 21 cards in my third age deck for a 3-player game, which is exactly correct, because you're supposed to have 7 cards per player. So if I was to add 1 player, boom, we get our 28 cards. And boom, boom, boom. Awesome. Let's get back to 3 though, because what I want to look at is if, really cool, thanks. If, oh, that's going to be a little annoying though. Can I? No, I'm going to need to, okay, let's just do this then. The third deck now. Okay, let me explain something so that you understand what is going on. Maybe with the instructions. All right, so the third deck is a mix of normal cards. You know how we have raw materials, manufactured goods, blah, blah, blah. So it's a mix of some of these cards here, but also guild cards. Guild cards are kind of special because you need to determine, I think there's 10 of them. There's 10 guild cards in the game. Yeah, so 10 guild cards in the game. But depending on the amount of players, you need to randomly remove some cards. So it's kind of a different process than with the other cards to determine which cards go in the deck. So I want to make sure that we have the right amount of guild cards and that they're also mixed in with the rest of the cards. Because right now, let me show you how I'm doing this, and then you can critique this a little bit. Code review live. Okay. Share. Here, oh yeah, I think you asked, I didn't answer you, eh? Somewhere in there you asked how I modeled, what is it? How far back was that? I'm scrolling through the chat, can't find it. You wanted to know effects costs. Okay, I didn't do that yet. But, oh, in the CSV? Yeah, okay, I can show you. I didn't figure out how to implement it in the actual game, but in the CSV, let me make this better looking. There we go. So cost. I actually, I don't know if you saw this, but I found some dude that actually made a pretty decent Excel sheets, should I say, for each age. And he had his own like encoding system. So I basically just tweaked it a little bit, pretty much kept what he had. And the way it works in cost, so see when you have parentheses like this means coins. When you have a symbol like that, it's a resource. So this would be stone, this would be timber, this would be ore. And then with the effects, well, it's the same thing, right? If the effect is that it produces a resource, then he's got the symbol that he's using there. Some of them gives you a choice between two resources, so he just has a slash in between them. This here is the symbol he's using for victory points. So the effect here is that you get 3 victory points from that card. And there's a few other things. So it's a pretty good system. I ended up following it. Now the question is going to be how I, transfer that into my actual game objects and behaviors and stuff. But I kind of followed your advice, and I'm trying to just actually make a one run through of the game where everyone just dumps their cards for coins, So I figured, well, I don't need to to model the effects yet and the costs and all those things. So that's my thinking so far. I thought that was a good idea you had. This is how I like to build it incrementally. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Okay, I was explaining how I'm getting the decks done. So I made, here's a question for you that has to do with style, code style. So I kind of made this this constant here to keep the file path for each age deck. I was wondering, like, I know it's I think the standard style in JavaScript is to use, I can't remember what the style is for this, but uppercase letters, and you separate the words with an underscore. But I was wondering if you do the same thing for, because okay, so I've got this in an object, right? So would file path also be like that, or would I use just standard camel case for file path here? So file type constant, so constant at compile time, just like file type, I would do like that. Function time constant, so constant based on input, I use camel case. Huh, okay. Hold on, I'm trying to translate this in English. And then into French. No. Okay, so what do you mean by constant at compile time versus at function time or file? Gigasecond, yeah, I remember it. So yeah, I had a constant. That value is always the same, so it's constant at the time you would read the file. Gotcha. Okay. Oh, right. But if it's kind of dynamic, if you're getting that that value dynamically, basically, right? Is that what you mean? Okay. So in our case here, the value being hard-coded like this. Oh, you'd keep it camel case. Okay. All right. Why though? Oh no, okay, this here. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, for sure. I meant this here. These ones here that I'm passing in here, right? That's not going to change. That doesn't change at compile time. That's just... So the keys, I probably used camel case, Pascal case, snake case, or whatever this is. I don't have a rule. Okay, so let's just leave it like that then. I know the Google, actually I should probably take a look at it some other time, but the Google style guide for JavaScript calls for using whatever this is. Yeah, whatever, I guess, yeah. So that's cool. I'll use that. All right. So what's going on here? I have upper snake case, right? Upper snake case. I've got two functions here. One is make age deck, pass in the number of players, constant case, yeah, because it's used pretty much for that, yeah. Pass in the number of players, pass in the file path. I get the file from the file system. I parsed the CSV. I wrote a little CSV parser that turns CSVs into an array of row objects. And I can, I pass in a map where I can map the column headers and the CSV to my own property names if I wanted to. In this case, they're pretty much the same thing, but whatever. Figured it'd be useful if I wanted them to be different. And then I am, let's see what's going on here. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, so I'm going through each of these row objects and I'm grabbing whatever. Cool. Where does the shuffling happen? The shuffling happens. Where does the suffering happen? The shuffling happens. I have a little helper function that I built here called it shuffle. We're looking at the JS code here, but let me just boom. So I see grab files based on the number of players. Yeah, the shuffling happens here. I made a little shuffle iterable function. Grabs whatever iterable you throw at it, converts it to an array, uses the Knuth algorithm to shuffle it, and then spews out the array. So it doesn't mess with the iterable that you passed in. Returns a new one. Okay, so and that happens in practice right here. This is the function that you would call, I don't know where exactly yet, but that would return an array of your three age decks, right? Age 1, age 2, age 3. So age 1 calls make age deck. Nice, okay, bear with me. Files equal cards, check line 42 and 43 here in construction decks. Okay, 42 and 43. What's up? Files equal cards star. You're only adding the first n cards to be shuffled. Let's take a look at this. That means that with less players, you will never have the last all minus n cards. Okay, let me look at this here. First n cards to be shuffled. Well, there's no shuffling happening here. Yeah, I think you are, because there's no shuffling happening in here. This is just the first step in making the deck. So what it does, all right, so let's say the cards are like this, A, B, C, D, E, okay? And row number of players gives back 2. Then I only get A, B. Yeah, hold on. Look at what's going on here. What I'm doing is because certain cards need to be added more than once. That's what I'm doing here. So each row, yeah, so you get it now? It's the player card count thing. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. So I'm going through each card. Yeah, it'll be easier to understand if I have the CSV files next to it. Where are my cards? There we go. Let's put that in here. Let's put it on the side. Okay, so. Oh, you got it? Okay, cool. Awesome. All right. So that's what this does. It just prepares the deck with the right number of cards. Okay, cool. All right. So, right. So this is where the magic happens. First, you get the decks with the proper amount of cards, and then I shuffle them and return them. Yeah, the guild cards. So I have a separate function for that. Make guild deck. And what I'm doing, I'm making the H deck for H3 and the guild deck separately, and I'm basically concatenating that both of these decks into the H3 deck. And that's pretty much how you would do it too, by hand. And then I shuffle the entire thing together. And this is what Make Guild deck looks like. It's similar to the other ones, but there's like it's a bit different. I hard-coded this, the number of guild cards. I hard-coded it here because that's the rule. The number of guild cards that gets included in the game is the number of players plus 2. And I think this is actually fine. I would have used concat probably with reduce or without comprehension. So h3deck.concat guild deck. But this is how you do it. Yeah, let's see. How did I do it? Now keeping in mind that this is all async, would this have worked? h3deck.concat guild deck. Yeah, let's see what you mean. So I could do, let's see. I could do let h3, or could I, can you use const, let's see, h3 deck, or you can just leave it this is, it works right. No, it does, it does. I was just curious of what it would look like if I do it that way. like to explore. So H3 deck would be just, so I'd use the same thing I'm doing right now, which is make H deck, number of players, file path H3. Okay, and then once that is done, you would do, well, you could do just H3 deck like this. Concat. Oh, then you can't, right? So you got to do a wait here. Okay, you just do it in the await H3 deck dot concat. Well, that doesn't seem to work, but it should. Hold on. No, you missed. Oh, thank you. Concat, and then you just do a wait. Guild deck. Well, I'd have to do make guild deck because I didn't do it yet, but probably want to have that on a separate line, I guess. But now the thing is, right, so I'd have to make this a let or use a different name for H3 deck. Or I could just do this. H3 deck equals await, and then I call my make H decks deck. Right, which ends up being, so, yeah. Let's go with that in the end. Allows me to use promise.all too. But yeah, I guess it's the fact that I'm using flat here is kind of a, but whatever. It works, like you said. All right, so I was trying to figure out if I have value 3 undefined. Oh yeah, 2. Sorry. There we go. Probably don't even need this. Oh, I do. Okay. Now here's the oh, that's too bad. Oh, there we go. For some reason, I have to click on it for the. Notice how it reshuffles every time. All right, cool. So we should have, with 3 players, we should have 5 guilds. 5 guild cards. And if I'm get our guild cards here. All right, let's see. Siege with, nope, that's not one. Fortifications is one, I think. Nope. Palace, no. Study. Pantheon. Arena, Siege Workshop, Fortifications Palace, Senate, Study, Magistrates. Magistrates is one, okay. Observatory. Strategists is another one, so that's two. Town Hall, Lodge, Craftsman is another one, so that's three. Philosophers is another one, so that's four. Traders is another one, so that's five. So we've got our five, and they seem to be mixed in here, although I find it interesting that it only started happening in the bottom half of the deck. Which one was my first one? Magistrates? Yeah. Let's see if we can get it to run it again. That's right. Wish is my command. So, okay, good. We've got our workers here. We've got strategists here, so that's two. We've got scientists here, so that's three. Ship owners, that's four. And notice how they're not the same ones as before. And we've got traders, there you go, five. So that works, right? Not only do I have the right amount of guilds, they're also shuffled in at different places in the deck, and they're also randomly different. There are five of them, but five different ones. Party hat, yeah. All right, cool. So that's good. I am happy about that. Get back to this. Stop Quokka. For some, hey, do you use Quokka? Have you used Quokka before? Yeah, it's really cool. It is. It is really, really nice. Oh, you had never seen it before. I actually, I learned about it by watching, what was it? I think it was MPJ. I think it was MPJ, Fun Function, right? I think he uses it. And I was like, let's check this out. They have a free version, which is decent, but for, I think, 50 bucks, you get the paid version and you get a lot of additional cool stuff with it. I don't know if you've noticed, but it actually kind of tells you which lines in your file is being hit. When you're running your code, you get like a green, yellow, red tag here on the side. Very cool. Okay, so oh, I was asking because unfortunately, let's say I wanted to. Okay, so let's bring that back. Now this is my TypeScript file, right? And it works with TypeScript. It works well, usually, except right now, if I use it here, I get some errors. And it's because I've never had that before because I've always used to import all of the classes and interfaces I needed instead of using a declaration file. But now it seems like it won't run because it's not seeing the declarations that aren't in the file. You know what I mean? Like construction effect, cost, construction type, that's all stuff that we've got in the declaration file. And it's like it's not seeing it. So it doesn't know to look for, I don't know, it's probably because it's isolated by file. Yeah, basically it doesn't know about the project type, yeah. is what it looks like anyways. So that's kind of a bummer, because what I need to do now is compile the TypeScript to JavaScript, then go do run Quokka in the JS file, which is not that big of a deal, but you know, slows down a little bit the whole process. All right, cool. So that's done. Now, if I just I have this game setup dot test. I didn't really actually make a test in there, but probably will at some point. Right now, I'm just trying to see what it would look like to set up the game. So, all right. So this is. So I was starting to implement the whole wonders deck thing. Then I was like, oh wait, I don't really need wonders if all I'm doing is, you know, discarding a card every time and getting some money. So I kind of stopped doing that halfway. Here we're earning our initial 3 coins. This is the setup for the players. And now, okay. Oh, maybe I could show you what Lumi got me to do with the player. Where is that? Players. Hold on. Game players builder, right? So, got a builder here. Have an add human player function, and an add AI player function, and the generate AI name function with some validation in there. And the game player's builder is not actually building a player object though. It is returning a player's info type. And you're using that player's info type to build your player object. So, seems a little convoluted to me at this stage anyways, but it works. It works, right? I'm using the builder here. I'm adding 3 human players. And I've got my player's info, then I'm using the player's info to build my players here. Yeah. Probably. Probably. Okay, so now the next step would be to actually... There's no shrug emoji. Yeah, so now the next step is to actually call my, what is it? No, cards, no, construction decks. So I guess my make age decks. So maybe I should rename this file appropriately to make age decks. All right, perhaps you actually don't want to create a function later class interface. That is the discard action. Yeah. That is the discard action. Yeah, I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to do that. But right now, I'm just setting things up. Should I get to implementing that right now, you think, or should I just finish up the setup of the game? Yes, because when you realize you need to give the players cards. Okay. And you would use a discard action for that? The discard action would be on the deck. Would act on the. Let's take a look at our trusty little words thing. Discarding. Discard pile. Construction player earning. Yeah, so we had this. At some point, I think it's wise to have each of the 3 actions be their own thing. They take input, requirements, options, and they can be executed. That makes for a nice interface to build UI around, build CLI around, build AI around, right? Which 3 actions are you referring to? Earning, discarding. Oh, right. Oh yeah, the 3. Okay, yeah. Choosing, building, construction, building wonder, discarding. So there's actually 4 technically. Yeah. So right now, my thinking was that I was just gonna have to. Right, you're right. Yeah, choosing is a prerequisite of all 3 actions. You need to choose a card to build or discard. That's correct. So, okay, that's interesting. Your game takes in players, right. So at this point, we could probably add our players. Let's see. Cons game, oops. And then we need to add the decks, right? I don't know if you were here when we were working on that. I don't know. You weren't? No. So we've got decks. So we'd probably want, well, either, yeah, we could probably just throw that in here. It's the only time we're going to actually set the decks is when we construct the game that I can think of. Anyway, so let's just put it in the constructor. So then I could, wrong file, don't need this. Players, and then I could just grab, oh, yeah, I need to have my decks. So That's where, okay, so car, const dex equal, let's call them age dex equals make, what did we call this thing? Make age dex. Am I exporting that? I am not. Now I am. Make age dex. Boom. And the number of players is supplied. Well, it's not supplied specifically here. It might be at some point, but for now, let's see. Let's just derive it from players info, maybe? What do you think of that? Or actually just players. Players is better. Yep, players at length. Yeah. I mean, I can think of, because right now we only have human players. At some point, well, this is always going to be right. Yeah. But at some point, somewhere, we might have the player supply us with the actual amount of players he wants to have in the game. And so let's say the user's like, okay, I'm going to be the only human player. My name is Phil, but I want to play a 5-player game. So we'd fill in the rest with AI players, and it would be a 5-player game. But in any case, by getting this from players, we're fine. Okay, cool. So we've got our age dex is declared, but its value is never read. Yes, it's about to be, because we're shoving it in here. Okay, so age dex. Oh, right. So let's await. There we go. Okay, cool. So now we've got a game, an actual game. Did I forget anything about the setup phase? Okay, so prepare the 3 decks, shuffle them, the guild cards, the wonders we don't really care about right now. The coins I'm doing, yeah, I'm doing. Conflict tokens form a reserve next to the coins. I think we had established that there is an endless supply of conflict tokens, so we don't really need to have a reserve per se. Conflict tokens are used to represent the military victories and defeats between neighboring cities. Yeah. It doesn't, so the coins, it does say explicitly that there's no limit to the number of coins a player can accumulate during a game. And it doesn't say that explicitly for the conflict tokens. But in reality, like there's a crazy amount of tokens in the game. I've never seen a situation where you don't have enough tokens and the instructions doesn't it doesn't account for that for such a situation, right? So as opposed to, like, let's say Monopoly, where there's a finite number of houses and hotels that can be built, and it does say, like, if you run out of hotels and houses, how to deal with that. So I think the idea here is that it's infinite. So we don't actually need to make a reserve. Okay, so let's keep going. And that's it. We're ready to start playing, I think. if we go to game overview, overview of an age. Game begins with age 1. Okay, so age 1, we got to make sure that we are in age 1. Okay, so maybe, let's see, game. I think I do by default start at age 1. Yeah, okay, cool. So, setup game at this point should probably just return the game, right? Returns a new game that has the players and the age decks. Eventually it'll also have the Wonders deck, but for now, this does it. What else do I have in the discard pile? That's fine, that's empty at first. Got our players, we've got our decks. All right. So now I've got this. This is returning a promise with a game. Cool. Why don't we type it explicitly? Promise game. Cool. Now, what do I do with it? So in my main, I don't know why I have this in a scheme. I think my idea was to build a test and then I kind of changed my mind at some point. I don't know. Let's just change the name of this thing to game setup. And now from main, we'd probably be calling this, right? Am I exporting this thing? I'm not. So, okay. Now let's think about this. What exactly is going to be running the game? And the thing I was thinking about it too is I don't know, like the game loop per se, that's going to be a UI concern, right? Because this is a turn-based game, so really we just have our game object and we're going to be calling functions on it, boop, 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 and I would recommend using a step function, right? You can you can hook step to standard in. Oh, or tick, or whatever. Whatever. Not aware of that implementation. Press enter, check Quokka. Okay, hold on. You can just run it, press enter, check Quokka, press enter again. Alright, you're gonna have to walk me through this some other time, unfortunately, because it's noon and it's time for lunch. You gotta stop showing up at the end of my streams, man. I actually usually end at 11, right? That's my usual schedule, 9 to 11. And you showed up at like 10 to 11 or something like that. I was like, oh man. so, so I stayed on a little longer. So I wanted to get your input and chat with you a little bit. No, no, don't be sorry. You've got your own thing going. Don't expect you to be there every time. But okay, so that's going to be interesting. What would be the next thing to do here for me? What do you think? Just so that I have something to work on. So think about the loop, yeah. That's right. All players play at the same time, but their actions are executed simultaneously. They are. They are. Is a holding pattern. That's right. You're just waiting, and then you get all of the players' inputs. Boom. Collect an action to execute for each player. Okay. Once you have them all, tick it. Okay. The tick executes all the actions. Right. Executing actions therefore mutates state. Yeah. Yeah. Later, if you're trading, you have trading commerce that will take precedence. Well, would it though? Yes, it would. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's right. Well, at any time, I guess it's actually, that's right. So it's actually before the action, because you only trade when you need a resource. You're missing a resource to make the actual action. So actually, they're kind of tied together, right? You don't know what you need to trade for until you've decided what the action you want to make, kind of thing. Okay, cool. Yeah. Just like how choosing a card takes precedence. Yeah. 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 Cool. The trade doesn't go through, the action can't either. Yeah, that's right. So they're kind of so obviously, yeah, the act of exchanging the resource for money needs to happen before the action. That's true. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I guess in practice we kind of do them simultaneously. But you could technically not do your action, like not reveal the card you're about to build, and before that do the commerce thing. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, holding pattern, execute all actions, move to the next turn, age. Yeah. Sorry. Cool. Cool. And yeah, so basically like a step function. Write that first so you can complete the game up to the last card, and then I would write the scoring. Yeah. Okay, cool. That gives me a good idea of I know that's weird, but you want that scoring in. No, that's not weird. That's not weird at all. That's an important part of the game, and the game's not complete. That's the last step. So I was planning of implementing that too. I think we had talked about this. And yeah, that'll be easy. It's just a matter of counting the coins. And then we'll just add related scoring to whatever whatever part of the game we add. So cool. All right, I gotta go. Once again, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate your input. Bye-bye. Oh, what's that? Then you can create a CLI game mode where the choosing of card uses something like shell. Yeah, that's right. Terminal. Cool. All right. Ciao.